G'day guys, and welcome back to Phil and Jen in the Philippines. It's been 7 months since I actually did a post, and as most of you are aware or were aware, that I was in Australia sorting out some things, of which I'll go into on this vlog or the next vlog, who knows. Anyway, it's good to be back. I'm back here in the Philippines. I have made a couple of trips back in that period of time which I didn't vlog because I was sorting some things out. We've changed houses to a quieter location, which is a lot better for you because obviously you can hear what's going on now. But I'll just fill you in. I've got a good friend of mine here from Australia, which I'll introduce to you, Christopher Pate, and tell you what Christopher and I are doing in the Philippines. So that's the introduction, and here we go. Okay guys, now I'd like to introduce you to a chap that probably a lot of Australians will know, Mr. Christopher Pate. I call him Kit, it's his nickname. Christopher is what one could say is Australian film royalty, he and his family. He's very modest, but I'll give him that kudos. For the ones that do recognise him, you'll know what I'm talking about. For the other viewers, I'll explain. In Australia, there are some foundation families and foundation actors and producers and directors that have been involved with the Australian and overseas film industry for 50 years odd. It started with Christopher's father, Michael, who...
grandfather.
Oh, well, yeah, grandfather. Christopher pipes up now, just to correct me. Christopher's grandfather was Joe Rock, who was a famous producer going back to the silent movie days. In Hollywood, and he begat a son in the biblical sense, which was Michael. And
no, daughter, Philippa.
Oh, Christopher, I better get this right. You tell them the story.
My mother was born, and then I came along.
Well, there you go. Anyway, Philippa, his mother, was a Hollywood actress as well, and she married Michael Pate. And Michael Pate was an actor that appeared in great films, great westerns, Hollywood major films. You can look him up. He appeared with John Wayne and the royalty of Hollywood at the time when Hollywood was at its peak. And he decided to return to Australia. He started in the industry just after the war, wasn't it, Michael?
No, he started about 1930s in radio, and then went into Australian movies and got brought to Hollywood in 1951 or 50 to do a movie called Thunder on the Hill with Claudia Colbert, and then, you know, his big breakthrough came in Hondo with John Wayne playing an American Indian. He kind of conquered the market for many, many years and worked with Marlon Brando, like Phil said, everybody, and then came back to Australia with James Mason to produce a movie called Age of Consent, and Helen Mirren's first movie. Dame Helen Mirren, I should say.
Well, that's the pedigree, and then obviously Christopher came along, and Christopher was involved in the film industry and stage and screen in Australia for many, many years, appearing in films not only his father produced, but other television and movie roles for a huge period of time, probably 50-odd years now.
I'm young.
Yeah. Young at heart.
At heart, yes, at heart, Phil. It's at heart.
And Christopher and I have known each other for about 35 years. And Christopher semi-retired from the industry about 20-odd years ago to look after his aging parents. And we found ourselves at a crossroads. He was still young and active and attractive. And we decided that maybe we should have another crack at films. But that's when I went back to Australia and we spoke about it, and we had a series of discussions, and we decided to make a couple of more movies. Christopher's company, or his father and Christopher and his mother's company, Pisces Productions, did a number of well-known films. Tim with Mel Gibson. They did The Mango Tree in Australia. Christopher also appeared in one could say the soaps, very long-running soap on Australian television, which was called Bellbird, and you can film them on a myriad of other things. It's not applicable. He has a huge history, and and we decided to rejoin the working class, and that does one or two things. As everyone probably knows that is here in the Philippines, making income over here apart from YouTube videos and whatever and this type of thing is very little way that a Westerner can actually, without working very hard, make any money in the Philippines. And usually relies on external sources such as pensions and whatever. But if you're still active in the mind and you want to work, you really, to be successful, have to be involved in something that brings income from outside the country in, because it doesn't really matter. We're not conditioned to work 10-hour days for 300 pesos a day and things like this. So we decided to go back to what we know. So that's that. I'll go further with Christopher in just a second, and I'll just change camera angles. So having changed camera angles, I'll just let you in on exactly what we're going to do as far as this vlog and this channel is concerned. And you can possibly, as the audience, direct us as to the best possible way we can do this. I will still do from time to time answer questions as far as coming to the Philippines and being an expat here and my experiences and whatever, under the guise of Jen and Phil in the Philippines, and Jen will come on from time to time. But what we're also going to do is, it came to our attention when you're making motion pictures, that very few people out there, even though they enjoy films and motion pictures, actually know the process to making one from go to woe. From everything from just the production, the pre-production, post-production, and how they actually get a motion picture out there. They usually do it in Hollywood and other places like Australia with, once the film is released, they'll release a video or a show on TV, which is the making of, or they'll attach it to the DVD, the making of, and they'll promote the film that way. But it's a very polished type situation. You don't know the thinking behind it. You don't know how the scripts were constructed. You don't. You're not aware of things unless you're very much into film as to what gaffers do and why there are so many people on a film set and what you have to do to get a motion picture actually to the screens. It's usually a long and involved process, and of course the costs involved and what you've got to look at, and that we discussed and decided that could be very interesting to the viewing public. So what we're going to do is either start a completely new video channel and call it the process, for want of a better word, or we're going to continue on with Phil and Jen and just mix it up with on the day-to-day basis. I'd like to have some feedback. A lot of you out there, it is one of those situations where most people have an interest in motion pictures and films, and it would assist us if I didn't have to start another video and all this, and I've already got friends out there that watch, so I would prefer to keep it on this and just expand it and have something more interesting to think about when my vlogs appear, but I'll wait for your response on that. What we're going to do is we've decided through a series of conversations, and you'll hear those conversations between Christopher and I when it comes to production and how our thought processes go. And when I say we're going to go from go to woe, even though we've had a number of months to think about this motion picture, and we've decided the genre and we've decided how it's constructed, it's all still here. For many years I was a script writer as well and had some success, and I was a ghost writer and this type of thing, and my beautiful wife just bought us a coffee. But we decided to do it on film and tell you how to construct them. A lot of guys out there have stories that they, only through a lack of expertise, they don't write them down, or they think someone will come along and take this story and make it into a book or a motion picture. Well, maybe this is interesting to you, I hope it is, but that is the plan in going forward. Now, as I said, I'm going to mix this with, coming to the Philippines and whatever. This is just an expansion of that. So I hope you stick around. You'll see a lot more of Christopher because he's over here for the 3-month process or 4-month process it is, to the pre-production and then in production. And we have decided, hold on. Christopher's looking at a film he's just completed. But anyway, what we're going to do is, as I said, do everything. You're going to see everything and whatever. And we're making it here in the Philippines in conjunction with Film Philippines. So you will see how the industry works here. There's a number of reasons we'll go into why we're doing it here. And apart from the fact that there's very few films for Western audiences made in the Philippines, we hope that's attractive. There's a lot to see. They have a great industry here. They have fabulous technicians, but they just haven't been able to make motion pictures in their field that translate into an international audience. Now, this is only going to be a small film. When I say that's theatrical release, but a small film is a low-budget motion picture, but simply because you haven't got a great deal of money to spend, and we're still talking millions, but these days millions doesn't make a great film. We're hopefully going to make a film of very good quality that people are interested in seeing of that genre. Now, when we release it to you and tell you what we're making, it may not, you may say, I hate that. We'd like you to eventually follow along, and simply because the subject matter is not what you would agree with, just see the process. Anyway, come along for the ride. I'll put Jen down in another video and she can have an added to you and just explain what she's been up to. So it's Phil and Jen in the Philippines, and even though I've moved, there's still bikes. So cheers for now.